Today, we sit down with Matt McLean, the founder of Uncle Matt's Organic, the name behind America's #1 selling organic orange juice. Matt is a fourth-generation Florida citrus grower who had a pivotal realization. Imagine this, a conversation with a customer that sparked a return to his grandfather's chemical-free farming methods, completely changing his trajectory. From the early hurdles of a niche market to navigating industry skepticism, Matt shares the unseen sacrifices and the relentless dedication required to build a business rooted in organic principles. He'll take us through critical decisions, the pursuit of uncompromising quality, and the innovation that keeps Uncle Matt's at the forefront. You'll also hear about award-winning taste, the challenges of Florida's organic citrus, and the profound community impact the brand is making. If you're passionate about organic food, the entrepreneurial spirit, or the power of staying true to your values, this episode is a must listen. As always, if you found value from this content, please like and subscribe. All right, Matt McLean, welcome to Beyond Fulfillment.
Hey, thanks, Dave. Glad to be on. Appreciate the opportunity to tell our story.
Absolutely. We appreciate you taking the time. So, Matt, you grew up in the heart of Florida's citrus country. Was there a specific moment, a citrus epiphany, if you will, where you realized conventional farming wasn't cutting it for you or your family's health?
Yeah, so I grew up in the citrus industry, fourth generation, so a Florida citrus grower. And we were conventional farmers until I started Uncle Matt's in June of 1999. When I got out of college, I had an import-export business, and I was selling juice, conventional juice, to Europe and the Middle East. One of those customers in Europe, a German fella, he asked me about organic. And at that time, I had no idea what organic was. And it led me back to my grandfather and father, in particular, talking to my granddad, can we even grow organic in Florida? And that's when he reminded me, hey, I was an organic farmer before pesticides were invented in the 40s, because I farmed, that far back in the day. And it gave me the confidence, like, okay, well, we can farm it organic, and they used to do it that way. And my grandfather talked about at the time, hey, we have displaced a lot of those methods of planting cover crops and using a lot of compost and those things that were more natural, the way Mother Nature intended. And so he was excited to go back to farming organic that way. And he said, yeah, we can do it. We can go back to a lot of those methodologies. So it gave me the confidence that, hey, if he thought we could farm it, then I thought there was an opportunity to sell it. And that was really the epiphany. And that was probably 97, 98, right around that time frame, when I came back from that meeting, that fateful meeting with that German customer, and then talked to my granddad. And it took me a while from there to figure out how to launch a product. And so that's why it took till June of 99.
Attention e-commerce sellers. Is fulfillment a headache for you? Whether you're fulfilling in-house and you know you need to outsource, or you're with another 3PL and you know you deserve better service, Easy DC 3PL can help. We offer personal service, fast response time, and we're flexible to meet your unique needs. Get in touch today and find out how we can help you. Okay. And starting with the focus on organic, before it was trendy, meant you were truly swimming against the current. So what's the most significant pushback you faced from the industry players, and how did you navigate that?
Well, I mean, in the beginning, it's just trying to find somebody that was certified organic that could co-pack it for me. I wasn't my own manufacturer. We were beginning to develop more groves. So you had two things. One, supply. You had to find a great, source. And we had a couple growers that were ahead of the curve, that were forward thinking on organic. And so we partnered with them to supply us. And then we found one small co-manufacturer that just so happened to be right down the road from where I lived. And the guy that ran the plant happened to be a friend of the family. And so those two things were really key. And it led me to be able to do Uncle Matt's Organic, because otherwise the conventional industry was pretty much ignoring it. It was too small of a niche. It really didn't matter to them, and it's still small today, relatively speaking. But it's become much larger and more prevalent across the whole supermarket.
And when you first started, right, like you said, it's still a smaller niche today, but back then it was way smaller. I mean, did you have any idea it could grow to the levels that we see now?
When I sat there with the guy in Germany, and he was enthusiastic about what he saw and the vision that he had and what his customers were telling him, it just kind of made sense to me that if this could trend in Europe, and a lot of food trends start over there and then they make it to the US, why not? Why couldn't it be a better way to farm, and why couldn't it be healthier for you to consume and taste better? Ultimately it's got to taste better. And so when I started trying the product, I thought, wow, this is naturally higher in sugar. Organic produces more antioxidants. So it just, for me, it made a lot of sense to then say, oh, and there's no pesticides, no harmful pesticides, no synthetic fertilizers. Why can't this be successful long term? Now, how successful? Ultimately, that's up to the consumer. Organic has always been, doesn't have the same economies of scale. So our costs are higher, and therefore our retail price is higher. So you're not going to go in there and just substitute one for the other. You have to sell on, hey, there's a real value, and it's either flavor or it's some other creation in their mind from, hey, the product from an environmental standpoint. People like to support organic because it's better for the planet, or better for the local economy, or they're just flat out in love with the taste.
Hey, and speaking of flavor and taste, we were talking off air, and you just received a major award from a very prestigious publication. You want to share that for our listeners right here and now?
Yeah, awesome. Food and Wine magazine, which is awesome. They had a taste test with all the top OJ brands nationwide. So we were there against, Tropicana, Simply, Florida's Natural, and a variety of private label accounts. Trader Joe's was in there, Whole Foods, and then of course ourselves. And we won the taste panel for the best overall taste in orange juice, which is great. It's something we worked really hard at Uncle Matt's. They said, hey, it just naturally tastes sweeter. It's like biting into a fresh Florida orange, and that's what we try to do. Be consistently great with our product every day. So really proud of our team. It's definitely a team effort from start to finish.
Yeah, and I'm sure awards like that make it all worthwhile, for sure. Um, can you recall a time where, staying true to your organic principles, caused you to have to make a really tough business decision?
Sure. I mean, it's like I said before, organic is not less expensive. We have, our economies of scale are much smaller than the large brands that I'm competing against, like, the Coke and Pepsis. That's the Tropin Simply oranges of the world. And so at any time, I could have made the easier choice. Hey, I want to make more money. I want to be more, price competitive with those conventional players. And I could have gone conventional instead of organic. It could have been Uncle Matt's, just Uncle Matt's. But we always stuck with Uncle Matt's Organic because I had that core belief. It's better way to farm. It's better for the planet. It's better for human health. And I have stayed true to that from the very beginning in 1999 till today, and I intend to stay that way, forever. And if you walked into my house, you would say I also consume organic. It's littered throughout the refrigerator and the pantry, and my kids would tell you, okay, we have a dad that is dedicated to organic and to healthy food. And one of my kids laughs. She goes, I may be the only person in my grade that's never eaten at a McDonald's. And it's like, well, I'm not keeping you from McDonald's. If you want to go to McDonald's, we'll go to McDonald's, honey. But she said, no, Dad, I really don't feel compelled that I should go to McDonald's. I'd rather, eat organic, healthy food if that's the option I can get.
Wow. Well, way to lead by example there. Um, okay, and building a brand from scratch requires immense personal sacrifice. What were some of the invisible costs of your entrepreneurial journey that most people don't see?
Well, I mean, I think time is money, right? In business, time is money. And the invisible cost is you're 24/7 on the clock. But fortunately for me, I love what I do. But you spend a lot of time always thinking about the business, try to come up with ways to be, better for the consumer, a new product, innovation. You're looking at new accounts. How do I get into this account or that account? And so even while most of your employees are, 9 to 5 or whatever hours they work, the entrepreneur's always on the clock. And so if you have a family, a wife and kids, you have to be cognizant of that because you definitely don't want to, waste time just thinking about business all the time. You want to make sure you're spending quality time with family. But that's a cost that's invisible. That you're always 24/7. You're entrepreneur running your business.
And your website talks about love at first sip. So how do you maintain, that level of passion and authenticity, especially as your business scales and grows and now you've become the number one selling organic orange juice in the country?
We break it down from a business standpoint. We start with, one mantra, which I tell everybody, consistently great. That's our tagline. And so with every bottle you open from Uncle Matt's, we want it to be consistently great. It's got to be labeled great. It's got to be capped great. It's got to be packed great. And it has to obviously taste great. So if you start with that as your goal, and then you dedicate your business around it, so everybody has goals and objectives around their position and job description that goes to being consistently great, the whole team comes together and we accomplish great things when we do that.
Love that. All right. And, as we mentioned, the organic market has evolved drastically over the past couple decades. But what's the biggest misconception that people still have about organic products?
I would say a lot of them just get confused on what is organic. There's so many different seals and labels and certifications out there. And so people will get confused. The others will greenwash themselves. I mean, just for instance, like the non-GMO verified, while it has a lot of good for people that are trying to avoid GMOs, a lot of people think that could be organic. And no, you can be non-GMO citrus. There is no commercially available GMO citrus. You could still go, herbicide with Roundup and spray with harmful pesticides and put the non-GMO seal on your orange juice. But it has nothing to, it's anywhere close to organic certified. And what we have to do to be audited, the different materials we're allowed or not allowed to use. We have to wait 3 years from the last prohibited substance. So there's a lot of confusion that can happen with all the different seals out there. So I think just making sure that the customer knows that organic is the gold standard for farming and the gold standard for food.
Okay. And from selling directly to consumers to navigating the complexities of national distribution, you've seen a lot within the business growth. What was the steepest learning curve that you encountered?
Ooh, I would say by far it is farming organic in Florida. We went from 3 acres in my dad's backyard to in our peak before citrus greening disease showed up. We had 1,500 acres and we had it over 35 different growers, 3 different counties, right down the middle of the state, Lake County, Polk County, Highlands County. And there was no textbook, a how-to, there was no YouTube video. You couldn't go to the University of Florida and get a whole farm plan. And so we had to do it by just, the good old fashioned way, hard work and effort, and through tough experiences. We could tell you a whole lot of things not to do and not to try, ways to lose money on organic. But at the end of the day, we found a good way and a good farm plan, and we were productive. And so I would say that would be the most difficult thing we had to overcome. Florida is a subtropical climate. So while it's wonderful because we get 55 inches of rainfall average per year, and we have a nice, warm, conducive for growth, that also grows a lot of weeds, that also attracts a lot of pest and disease. And so you have to combat that or work in harmony with nature in order to do that organically. And so it's a very tough environment to do it, but if you can do it, it's also very rewarding.
Wow. Okay. So, I mean, would you say Florida is one of the tougher markets to grow organically?
It is because of the strong pressure from weeds, disease, and pests because of the subtropical humid climate. The more you go into an arid desert climate, similar to California, parts of southern Texas, parts of Mexico, as we travel around the globe, those are the regions that the weed pressure isn't as intense and the disease pressure isn't intense because of the heat and the arid climate.
Interesting. Okay.
Yep.
All right. And, so Matt, you've been a pioneer in the organic space for quite a while now. If you could go back and give your younger self one piece of advice on this journey, what would it be?
In the beginning, you have these visions of grandeur. Okay, my brand is on one product, and then you walk in the supermarket and you think, gosh, could I be in that category, in this category, in that category? You think, gosh, if I have a little success here, maybe it could just be, the next General Mills. So you really just, the old adage, an inch wide, a mile deep. Stay in your lane, stay really focused is what I would tell myself. Stay really into what you do best, which at that time was orange juice, and it still is today. It's our number one seller. But don't get distracted on other categories and other items. Do what you do really well in the beginning, and try to get as far as you can with distribution. I spent too much time just distracted on other things. Could I do milk? Could I do eggs? When I should have been more focused in the beginning months, would really drive an OJ and OJ distribution nationwide with the key accounts and the key accounts that are large enough that can really make a difference with your business instead of, one or two shops at a time.
Okay. Wow.
Mhm.
And, entrepreneurs often face moments of doubt. Was there a time that you felt like giving up? And if so, what pulled you through?
Well, yeah, every week you got times in the entrepreneur's journey, you're like, this is it, man. I'm finished. I quit. You get frustrated, right? Because you don't control everything in your sphere. You have obviously very demanding customers. You have very demanding consumers. You have agriculture is something we can't control the weather. So you have things that are outside of your control. So you're going to get frustrated on a weekly basis, but you have to have good systems in place, good processes in place. Think strategic. Think about, what if scenarios. What if this happens? How do I react? How do I react so I have enough supply? How do I react if this, manufacturing facility it goes down? What happens if we lose this large customer? Kind of, you're strategically thinking on a regular basis of how to be proactive and not reactive.
Okay. And beyond just the business success, what's the most rewarding impact that you've seen Uncle Matt's Organic have on your community or the environment?
Yeah, we had a probably, what was it, 3 years now, I first got the idea from the Rodale Institute, and the Rodale Institute is a not-for-profit that does a lot of work on organic ag research and farming. And at one time in their life cycle, they had a program called the R2 Cents, and they had brands sign up, and we were one of the founding brands that partnered with them to do 2 cents of every case we sold, donated to them for research. And so that program has since no longer exist. They had a new executive director came in and replaced it. And so we instituted it for Uncle Matt's. And I thought, hey, this would be great. And we choose local charities that we can have an impact, not national charities, and nothing against national charities, but ones that locally we could go visit, we could see, that really could make a bigger impact with our check size. And so that was great. And we have our employees, they actually vote and choose each quarter who is going to be on our carton. And so if you look in the back of any of our orange juice items, so our 52-ounce pulp-free, our orange juice with calcium, or orange juice with pulp, you'll see on the back of the label, it's got our latest not-for-profit that we are donating to. Like the one where this quarter is Thrive Claremont, and it's in our local town here. And Thrive works with teenagers to give them life skills and helps them with all kinds of leadership, entrepreneurship, after school programs that helps them prepare for the next step after high school. And so that's really important. There's a lot of at-risk teenagers as well. Before that, we worked with Conservation Florida, and Conservation Florida's headquarters is right here in Orlando. They help protect acreage for the wildlife corridor. So with all the homes and all the expansion rapidly that we're having around Florida, it's critical to conserve land for the wildlife to have their corridor to, do what they do up and down the state. So things like that we vote on, things like that we get to have an impact. Our check size has been, I think when we first started, it was like around $9,000, and now it's over 13,000. So as our company grows, our check size grows, and we have a quarterly event, and we give them a really big check, which is kind of fun, and we celebrate them and wish them well.
Fantastic. All right. And, Matt, the beverage industry especially is fiercely competitive. How do you stay innovative and relevant in, a constantly changing market?
Yeah, I'm an outdoor enthusiast. I'm an active person. I'm in the health and wellness industry, and that's the lifestyle that I live. So I'm, every day kind of challenging myself. I want to live to be 100. That's one of my goals, longevity, and you get there through, you are what you eat. Food is fuel, and so why not having the best fuel being organic? So I always look for new things, stuff that's our customers are telling us, what's on trend, what's healthy for you, better for you. I'm always looking for better for you products that I could come out to market with. And so things like our Ultimate Immune, it was orange juice as the base, but then we added elderberry, which is really good for colds and flus. And we boosted it with the acerola cherry for vitamin C, and then zinc and D. And so it's a beautiful purple drink. Another one, Ultimate Defense, it's orange juice with pineapple and ginger. Then from there, we added turmeric root. So the whole turmeric root ground up. It's good for inflammation. It's good prebiotic in the gut. And then we also boosted it with the acerola cherry for vitamin C. And we added a probiotic, a live probiotic in there. So we're looking at functionality to have orange juice. While orange juice is a fantastic beverage all by itself, packed with vitamins and minerals and also antioxidants, it's a great carrier, and it's a great base for other functional things to be added to it. So we've had some fun with that and innovation, but then also from there, what else can we do in that refrigerated set? Consumers give us the permission, as long as we have consistently great tasting products. And we have gone into lemonades and punches, and then also recently brewed craft tea. So we have a black tea, sweetened and unsweetened, lightly sweetened with agave and stevia, and then a fantastic half and half lemonade and black tea.
Okay. Wow. All right. And Matt, if you could distill your entrepreneurial journey into one key lesson for other aspiring business owners out there, what would that be?
Geez, one key lesson. Um, Depends on the stage of your journey. I'd say in the beginning, obviously the key lesson, cash is king. Be prepared, don't run out of cash. If you don't know your finances, find a good financial expert to help you so you don't do anything foolish and you basically risk the farm. And before you know it, your good idea is poof, gone because you ran out of cash. So that would be, one key thing as a startup. And then also, as a bonus, leadership skills. Look to other people, find other mentors that can help you, guide you in your business entrepreneurship journey, really help you become a leader, because as you grow the business, you're going to have to lead your team. You're going to have to lead, the company from different stages of growth. You're going to have to, lead in your community. You're going to have to lead in a variety, sometimes in your industry. So the better leader you can be, I think the better your company will be. So those are kind of two key. You only asked for one, but I gave you two.
Yeah, appreciate that. Okay. And Matt, if people want to find out more about Uncle Matt's or reach out to you personally and find out more about what you're doing these days, what's the best way that people can reach out to you?
Yeah, you can find us on social media. We're on Instagram, TikTok, Facebook, also our website, unclemats.com. If you go there, you can click on the store locator tab and you just put in your zip code, and it'll tell you which stores in your neighborhood carry what items of ours. And if for some reason we're not in your local markets, or your favorite product is not sold there in your local market, you can also order it online. It'll be more expensive, I'll warn you that. But we can deliver to all continental states in the US with our DTC site.
All right. And we'll link all that in the show notes for everyone.
Wonderful.
All right. Well, Matt, thank you so much for taking the time to be here and sharing this valuable wisdom about your journey with our audience. We greatly appreciate it.
Hey, man, it was my pleasure. Thanks a lot, Dave. Appreciate it.
All right. And that's all the time we have for now. We will see you next time.